Good morning and happy Sunday to everyone. Make sure you take care of your health and let's get that wealth. Now, let's go on. Today's topic is a little different. I'm not going to be talking about anything specifically technical here, but it's still related to Chia. And why am I talking about this? Because the other day there was a tweet by a gentleman named Nic Carter. I thought it was actually the guy from the Backstreet Boys, but it's spelled differently. It has a K in the end of his name, but the one that we're talking about today has no K. It's Nic Carter. I'm going to be talking about what he tweeted in regards to Chia. Now, I can't blame him entirely. He was kind of egged on. He was minding his business, but after the fact that he tweeted something about Chia, that's when everything got a little out of hand and everyone got really excited. And I don't even know if I should use the word excited, but a lot of people got offended. That's probably the main reason I never tweet on Twitter as much as some people do, but I do still occasionally visit because I'm intrigued sometimes, because if I didn't visit that, I wouldn't have anything to talk about right now in regards to it. So it's a very interesting platform. Is it open for discussion most of the time? Yes, it is. And is it always a good thing? No, it's not, because it really gets people worked up and you can really build a lot of tension, which I'm not too fond of. A lot of people apparently get a kick out of this. So all started on April 22nd from this Nic Carter gentleman. For your consideration, Bitcoin mining critics bingo, a very easy game to win. So he has this whole chart here, I believe, to, it's like a Bitcoin bingo, meaning you cross off whatever that it qualifies or whatever it is. I guess it was a game that he was trying to make a point with all this. And then he had a follow-up tweet with that and he started crossing off. Then this Andrew Davison decided to tweet in his response, it's almost as if you are not aware that proof of space and time is a better Nakamoto consensus mechanism without mental gymnastics to justify its usage. But you would educate yourself if that was the case, right? And then he linked the Chia consensus document, consensus introduction. I believe this is one of the documents. Is this part of the white paper? I believe so. Then Nic Carter's response to that is Chia is literally a proof of e-waste and is actually competes with the global fungible resources that people need storage. Energy is not globally fungible. It is frequently stranded, negatively priced. Wow, why are you picking on Chia? You brought it up. Stay quiet next time. Before we continue, let me go on with this one. I can see his perspective because he doesn't know too much about Chia. I'll take, for example, in my case, when I first started with Chia, honestly, I didn't think about the storage and the e-waste and all that. I really didn't take any of that in consideration. As I read more articles from other authors and people who were commenting about Chia, saying that, it's a SSD drive killer, it'll waste all your hard drive. Now, granted, historically, on a technical level, as I was growing into the IT field, the one thing that always failed most of the times were hard drive because they were mechanical, and that's something that, whether it got shocked, it took a hard hit, most of the times it'll be because the disk are spinning and you're constantly accessing data, and the mechanical drives just tend to fail. So that would be like one of the primary components that on the machine that would go first. I could understand where some of these people coming from in that regards, but I know because I'm in Chia, I've read into it and I've spoken to a lot of people, these drives most of the time just sit idle, which is fine. On the same token, they say that SSD or NVMe drives are, being wasted because it's constantly plotting. Well, we're not constantly plotting. And also on the flip side of all that, I've plotted about almost 270 plus terabytes of drives on a single NVMe. It's still running. I'm actually using that same plotting drive, that NVMe now, to actually run an operating system. Granted, I don't put anything critical on there, but it's still functioning and it hasn't died on me yet. If he's not there in that game of Chia, like doing plots and farming, yeah, you do have a different perception of how it's treating these drives. Just like how we see, GPUs wasting a lot of energy and potentially it can overheat and burn up or die, whatever it is, right? Let me just go over a little more details. And of course, there was a lot of responses to this because unfortunately, well, I shouldn't say unfortunately, Nic Carter, right, has about 319,000 followers. That is a huge following. And of course, there's a bunch of Chia guys who I follow that are part of his Twitter, all right? Just so I can understand that. So I had to look into Nic Carter and who he is and what he does. And obviously he's very, very pro Bitcoin, how miners are protecting the grid. I looked at his about. He has a history of a lot of things going on with the blockchains in particular. I want to point out a few things here. What I do, I am a general partner at Castle Island Ventures. And then I looked up Castle Island Ventures. We are a venture capitalist firm focused exclusively on public blockchains. They're making huge investments, I guess, into certain blockchains that they feel that have faith in. We believe that permission blockchains represent a new form of political economics institution that will fundamentally alter market structures and spawn entirely new industries. All right, so he wants to be the first in the game on certain things. That's fine. And then I started looking into more. Obviously, he does have a big following. He has a lot of appearances in the financial sector in regards to, I guess, crypto in general. He's On the Brink, which is a podcast that does blockchain interviews and news articles, writes on CoinDesk, also writes for other articles and different news outlets. This one in particular by New York Magazine. What Explains Bitcoin's Resurgence by Nic Carter. Again, he has a somewhat of a presence in the media. You know, taking that negative approach to what he said puts a damper. It's going to reflect because he has about a few 100,000, followers. I'll go down some of the highlights of the tweets that responded into this. Chia supporters came out. Even Bram himself made a comment about this. So this tweet in particular is the one that really got everyone worked up, right? Chia is literally a proof of e-waste, and it actually competes with global fungible resources that people need. And of course, the Chia plot has responded. No one thinks you are picking on Chia. They think you are flapping your fingers about stuff you don't understand and haven't looked into. Be happy to fill in your gaps anytime. And then, of course, Bram himself. It's amazing how delusional things can fit into a single tweet. So, which is pretty interesting. It got a lot of people worked up. Obviously, you have the staff of Chia and you have a lot of supporters of Chia. So, of course, a lot of people coming back and rebuttaling and saying that, no, I plotted over 300 terabytes on 5+-year-old SSDs. They are still going. Same case with me. I'm not saying it killed any drives. It didn't harm anything. I can't agree with his tweet, obviously. And I just wanted to point that out, that people with that type of following, giving out that type of information, it does affect the project, because a lot of people who won't look into it, and even if you shove the white paper into their face, they may not even want to read it, but they'll just read a quick tweet for like 2 seconds from someone that they think potentially may have some type of influence or, some recognition in this field, that they will take their word for it and use that as the basis of their decision to go with a project or not. Sometimes not a good thing, because if you don't do your own due diligence, it can harm you in many, many ways, right? More reasons why Chia is great, other than his next generation green consensus mechanism, which is aligned with the ideal behind one CPU, one vote, ideal from Bitcoin white paper, which links to evidence, not just assertions here. So we have a lot of pro Chia, obviously defending this, and it's not considered e-waste. Me personally, I still don't think it's e-waste, although I read a lot of articles, and that could have easily influenced me in the very beginning of Chia. I want to also kind of reach out to anyone who's considering Chia right now in the beginning. Like, let's just say you want to go out and get some drives and you want to just play around with Chia. It's not going to kill your drive. You can think of it like you write it once and you just let it, set it, and forget it. And then you use those plots that you actually just wrote to farm Chia. You're not killing anything. You're not wasting anything. In the very beginning, Bram had mentioned that these are drives that you should have space on, that without even having to buy them. If you had extra space around, laying around, that you can fit these plots, use that first. Let's just say you bought an 8 terabyte drive for your family photos and you have like 2 terabyte of drive space left. Utilize that. Use maybe even 1 terabyte or 2 terabytes. Use it up. That was basically the theory behind that, not you going out to buy more 8 terabytes. Although some farmers have been doing that, myself included, because I didn't have that type of space lying around. As time went on, I just kept adding on and on and on. I have not had a failed drive. The SSDs or the NVMEs that I've used, and 270 terabytes that I have of drives, I have not experienced any failed drives. You could take that however you want. Of course, there's a lot of interesting arguments to what he tweeted. I try to stay off Twitter from commenting, because sometimes sometimes people will just come back at you very negative and very strong to the point where you may get agitated. So I just stay off it entirely. So that's pretty much what I wanted to discuss with you guys, is that, you know, in short, if you come across this tweet or you heard anything on different forums about this tweet from Nic Carter in regards to Chia, it's not true. It's really not. It's not, you're not running your drives 100% every single day, 24/7 like GPUs are. Just wanted to make that clear. Chia is hands down one of the most energy efficient crypto mining options out there right now. So you have to take that, put it into your own working, test it out yourself, play around with it, because if you never touched it before, you would never know. All right. I want to thank you guys for being here. Please hit that like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys again soon.